Hello world, and welcome back to the weekly challenge. This week's challenge is Minmus. I need to bring a Kerbal to Kerbin's far-flung second moon and bring him home safely. You might have noticed, if you're paying attention, that I've skipped two challenges. I've skipped second KSC and I've skipped Monolith. The reason I've done so is because those two challenges both involved Easter eggs, and I do not want to spoil the location of any Easter eggs to my viewers. So I'm going to skip any challenges that involve Easter eggs. This includes challenges that have already been announced and ones that will be announced in the future. Without any further ado, let's begin. I already have a ship at the launch pad, and it should be capable of making the trip. For the added challenge, I'm going to send a 3-man rocket, and our Kerbinauts today are Patsted, Dunfert, and Jebediah. What are you doing here? Jebediah shouldn't even be alive. Well, I guess he's made a miraculous recovery following his unfortunate incident on our first weekly challenge episode. But yeah, our rocket is pretty simple. Obviously, I have my capsule on top of the parachute. Our lander stage is just a single, smaller 3-meter engine with 3 nuclear engines on the side. 3 nuclear engines are very efficient, so I should get a lot of Delta V at that stage, enough to bring me to Minmus, land, and return home. So yeah, that's all that in the stage, and the rest is basically just getting me up there. This main stage is, it's just one central stack. I think it has 3 full-size liquid fuel tanks and 8 liquid fuel boosters on the side. I always say fuel boosters. Liquid fuel gosh darn it. Liquid fuel boosters, that is. So yeah, I'm going to turn SAS on, bring our throttle up to 100%, and lift off in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, this ship does not have a name. I do not actually name my ships, so it is very conveniently titled Minmus. The first few sets of boosters are going to run out pretty fast. As you've seen, the first set have actually already finished. Each booster has 4 fuel tanks on. And here come the second set. There we go. Alright. There's our penultimate set of boosters, and I just want to share something. To be honest, I designed this rocket a very long time ago when Point 18 was first released, around that time, and to be honest, I don't know if it can actually make the trip. Well, I mean, I know it has, because I've done it before, but I don't remember exactly how it did so. So I guess you and I will both find out together how she handles. Our last set of boosters are running out, and we're just clearing the thickest part of the atmosphere, so I'm going to start my gravity turn. Pitched about 70 degrees. There we go. Alright, at this time we're clearing the medium part of the atmosphere, and our apoapsis is above 70 kilometers, so I'm going to cut thrust and just coast until we're up there. Alright, there we are. Let's start our circularization burn. Alright, our main engine has already run out of fuel. Fuel. Gosh, I don't know why fuel has become so hard for me to say. So let's stage and launch our payload. Kind of missed our apoapsis. Alright, there we are. 73 by 73, perfect. Alright, well, let's see, where is Minmus, this tiny little moon? Ah, okay. That's pretty good. It's actually already... It's just about to rise. You can see it right there. I'll turn on my mouse. It's right there where my mouse is pointing. You can actually see it from the surface of Kerbin, which is something I think they added in 0.17. Did I say 0.18 earlier? I think I did. I meant 0.17. But yeah, I think, along with all the other stuff they added in 0.17, all the new planets, they added the ability to see Minmus from the surface of Kerbin, which I suppose could be useful for timing launches, if need be. I don't know, I've never done so, because the map is perfectly useful. Now, there are two different ways to make the transfer to Minmus. One is to... Well, first, the time to start your transfer burn is actually the same visual cue as if you were going to Moon. Once it rises, you can just start your transfer burn and bring your apoapsis to the height of Minmus's orbit, and that should do the trick. However, there's two ways to go about this. Because Minmus is on a fairly inclined orbit, you have to tackle the problem of actually getting to the same how should I say, the same latitude, I suppose, as Minmus when you get there. So the two ways to go about doing this is to, before you make your transfer burn, you can line up your orbit with that of Minmus's, the plane of your orbit, and then make your transfer burn. And when you do, you will already be on the same plane, so you won't have to worry about anything. The other way to do it is to make your transfer burn without worrying about the inclination, and simply correct your inclination beforehand. So I'm going to save right here, and I'm going to try the second way, and if that does not work, I will try the other way. Both ways do work, but changing your inclination afterwards leaves less room for error, because you can't really... the way you do it is you have to go out to halfway between the orbit of Minmus and, when you're halfway there, basically, and then you make your inclination change. But at that point, you really can't, it's harder to adjust your apoapsis so you meet it. So if you time it wrong, you can really just miss it, and yeah. The other way is more, it'll work a higher percentage of the time, the first way, correcting your inclination beforehand, but you'll use more fuel with the inclination change. So yeah, I'm going to try the second way first, and if that does not work, I'll try the first way. Either way, I'll just skip whichever way does not work, and you'll see whichever way does. So yeah. Alrighty, folks, Minmus is rising just above the horizon. I have not yet performed an inclination correction. I'm going to do that on the way there. This is the harder method of the two methods to get to Minmus, because I am lazy. I don't know why I'm doing it this way. Maybe it's just for the challenge, who knows? Either way, we have to raise our apoapsis to match the altitude of Minmus's orbit, which is, I believe, is at 46,400,000 meters. That's off the top of my head. Correct me if I'm wrong, or don't, because I'm talking to myself. So yes, I'm gonna burn until my apoapsis is at 46,400,000 meters. That's what I said, right? I think so. So yeah, let's see you there. Here we go. Alright. 46,400 kilometers. Alright, so I'm going to warp until I'm about halfway between the orbits of Moon and Minmus, and then I'm going to perform an inclination correction burn. I'll see you there. Alright, because, how how should I word this? Because at our apoapsis, Minmus's orbit is at a lower latitude than our orbit will be, if that makes any sense. I'm going to burn south, or anti-normal, in order to correct this. So when you're in a 90-degree orbit, anti-normal would be 180 degrees. I'm just going to burn until this apoapsis is about at Minmus's orbit. That's perfect. Now I don't have an intercept yet, but once I get to my apoapsis, I'm going to change the I'm going to perform an another inclination correction burn in order to match the inclinations of the two orbits, and then we should get an intercept. The only reason we don't now is because I wasn't accurate enough. I either overshot or undershot. It looks like I overshot, but it's still pretty close. Close enough that, yeah, it's definitely close. It's just flashing. And since I'm only crossing, the plane of Minmus's orbit for just, a little bit, there's less of a window to actually meet it in orbit. So I'm going to, this time, instead of burning anti-normal, I'm going to burn normal in order to match our orbits back up. There we go! We have an intercept, folks. Now I'm just going to lower our expected periaps as much as possible. Oh, alright, that's close enough, folks. Now let's warp to our sphere of influence change, and subsequently to our paramin, which would be the periapsis in Minmus's sphere of influence, as opposed to a parakey, which would be the periapsis in Kerbin's sphere of influence. And now, again, we're going to burn retrograde in order, this is called a capture, I forget what it's called, breaking burn, that's what it's called, so that we stay in Minmus's sphere of influence. There we go. Now we are stuck in Minmus's sphere of influence. I'm just going to go right into my landing procedure, so I'm going to wait until I'm around over here, and then I'm going to pull my periaps down to just above the surface so we can land right away. So I want to land on the day side, excuse me. So I want to start my landing, I don't know what it's called. I'm going to burn retrograde when I'm on the night side, basically. And I'm going to pull this down to basically as close as possible without hitting the surface. So I think 5,000 meters is close enough. Because if you go any closer, you'll actually you'll be grazing the mountains. Minmus has some spectacular mountains. That's actually too close. I'm at 3,000, so I'm going to push it back up. Okay, that's too much again. The reason that it's changing so fast is because since I'm so far out and I'm going so slow, every small bit of change in velocity has a bigger effect, because it's such a big change, relative to my current velocity. So yeah, expected periaps is now at 5,000 meters about, so let us warp and we'll see if I am too close to the surface. Ah, what a beautiful sight. It's the first time laying eyes on it with my own eyes. I didn't word that correctly, did I? Now I used to, before in Kerbal Space Program 0.16, I like to, so there was no other planets. The only targets were Moon and Minmus. And since Minmus had such a low gravity, surface gravity, I I like to land lots of cool stuff on it. So I would put rockets, then I'd put rovers, then I'd actually build buildings using the jet parts, and I would land them on Minmus's lakes. And I would actually have little tiny cities on Minmus, and it was pretty fun. So I'm actually very used to landing on Minmus. And the funny thing is I would always land on the side facing Kerbin, because in my imagination, whoa, what's going on here? I'm getting like double vision. Ugh, I shouldn't have piloted. Jebediah is a bit drunk, it seems. There we go, went away. But I would always land on the side facing Kerbin, so that in my imagination, the base could maintain contact with their space stations back on Kerbin. However, in point 17, I realized that that was no longer necessary, as Minmus is no longer tidally locked. So Minmus used to always show the same side of Minmus would always face Kerbin, but they changed, the developers changed it so that Minmus rotated, without any, without regard to its orbit around Kerbin. So it was a free spirit. It's now a free spirit. It rotates however fast it wants. It's a free moon now. But yeah, so that's the only real thing that have to now account for. But the funny thing is, since I always landed on the near side, I'm not used to the terrain of Minmus on the far side. However, I do believe this is actually the side that used to face Kerbin all the time. So I am familiar with this particular lake. What I'm doing now, I'm just killing all my horizontal velocity so that I actually land in this ice lake. Or is it ice? Well, that's actually a kind of good segue. What is Minmus made out of? A lot of people say it's ice, but I personally disagree. That's good. You see, if it was ice, considering that Kerbin is obviously in the habitable zone of its parent star, Minmus would be too, and that would mean ice would not stay ice very long. And my theory is that back when Minmus was young, it wasn't quite unlike Kerbin. I believe that it also had an atmosphere, and it also had liquid water on the surface. However, since it's a smaller planet, its geological activity died down relatively fast, and with no geological activity led to its magnetic field would have died, and with no magnetic field, solar winds would have started eroding away the atmospheres. And once the atmospheres eroded away, the oceans would start to boil because of the decreased air pressure. Eventually, all of the water would boil away and subsequently be blown away by solar winds, and all that would be left would be all the salt that was in the ocean. And that's what I believe these so-called lake beds are made out of. Salt. Salt as we know it on Earth, as we use in our foods and stuff, is sodium chloride, which is a nice crystalline, white, powdery substance. However, that is sodium chloride. There are different types of salt. In chemistry, a salt is any compounds formed as a result of a neutralization between an acid and a base. And so I believe that Minmus's so-called lake beds are actually salt beds, and I believe that salt is nickel chloride. I'll include a picture of it right now. Actually, I won't, because I'm about to land, and I don't want you to miss it. I'll put it in the corner. It should be right in the corner at the top right. And as you can see, that's the same kind of... It's a nice pale green color, and that's kind of the same color that Minmus is. Where is my shadow? I feel like Peter Pan sometimes. As a Mac user... I'm getting too out of... Let me focus on what landing first, and then we'll talk about what Minmus is made out of. Alright, I'm pretty close to the surface now. Still no shadow, though. There's my shadow. Alrighty. That's what I like to see. Okay. Slowly, slowly. Perfect. Alrighty, here we are. But that was just a theory. Since we're here on the surface, let's test it out ourselves. Let's let Jeb out, have him see what Minmus is really made out of, take some samples. Why not? Of course, if you watch the videos from my buddy David Left-Handed, or in his Kerbal Career series, I asked him to land on Minmus for me and take some samples so we could ascertain what they're made out of, what Minmus is made out of. Unfortunately, his return vehicle crashed during re-entry. So, Jeb, what do you think it is? He seems a bit quiet. In either case, I am pretty sure that it is nickel chloride, and I believe that the mountains have the greenish hue because it is simply coated in a, instead of being like a solid lake bed of nickel chloride, it's just coated in a fine, powdery, little sprinkling of nickel chloride on the surface. That's why the rocks aren't green as well, because the planet isn't made out of solid nickel chloride. It's probably made out of rock, just like Kerbin is, and the moon is. Well, a bit high. But that's my theory of what Minmus is made out of, but who am I to say? In all likelihood, Minmus is green just because the developers wanted it to be green. Whoa, what just happened there? Jeb tried to grab onto the ladder and was sent flying. I don't know what that was about. But yeah, post your ideas in the comments below. I'm actually pretty curious as to what you guys think Minmus is made out of. I think ice is the prevalent idea, but I tend to disagree with that. So yes, here we are on Minmus. Beautiful day it is. It's actually probably around noon. In all honesty, I feel that this is a bit scientifically inaccurate. You wouldn't be able to see stars during the day on a planet without an atmosphere. Actually, in a lot of when the astronauts visited the moon, they were not able to see any stars. In all the pictures taken by the astronauts on the moon, there are no stars in the background. And a lot of crazed conspiracy theorists say, "Oh, that's how you know it was actually taken in a set." And I say the opposite. That's how you know it was actually done, because, I mean, there would be no stars. Whoever thinks so obviously doesn't know what they're talking about. Alright, starting my liftoff with a heading of 90 degrees. I just want to push my apoapsis above 5,000 meters again. Alrighty, now I'm just going to coast to my apoapsis and circularize my orbit. Jeb has collected his samples and left them safely with Patsid and Dunford, who unfortunately did not get a chance to leave the capsule and explore the surface. Mostly because I was too busy talking. Oh yeah, I can't accelerate. Alright, so while we're on our return trip, I have a few things I want to talk about. First thing I want to say is sorry. I don't know if anyone actually cared or noticed, but I'm posting this and it is Wednesday, November 28th. The last time I posted a video was, gosh, not last Friday, but the Friday before that. I have no excuse, I have been slacking. However, during all of last week, I came down with something. I was pretty sick, and I was tired and sore, and I didn't want to do anything, and I just wanted to stay home and sleep all day. So yeah, making videos was not really on my to-do list when I was not feeling 100%. And for that, I ask for your forgiveness. I am going to try to resume my Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule. I honestly am sorry that I did not post any videos during that time. This will not be a habit. I'm not going to make this a habit. But and when I'm sick, I'm sick. There's nothing I can really do about that. And I'm thankful that no one really got mad with me. And I am very thankful for all the support I've got on my channel. I love all the questions you guys leave and all the comments you guys leave. It's really great. And when I started this channel, I had no idea that I would get as much attention as I did. I'm nearing 200 subscribers, and my account is only about a month or two old. I posted my first video about a month ago. So yeah, considering the fact that I grew this fast, I'm really, I just really want to say thank you to everybody. But yeah, that's enough, enough blabber. I have a question for you guys. I went off on a tangent over there a bit ago, talking about what I thought Minmus was made out of. What do you guys think of that? Did you guys enjoy that? Because I actually have little fan theories as to what I believe all the planets are made out of. For each planet, I have my own personal theory as to why it has the features that it does have. I should actually talk while I'm doing this, but just to let you guys know what I'm doing, I'm now leaving Minmus' sphere of influence. So yeah, but as I was saying, I have my own little theories as to what I believe all the planets in Kerbal Space Program are made out of, and why they have the features that they do have. For example, why is Minmus green, and why does it have those lake beds? Why is I don't know. Why is Eve purple? A lot of people are curious about that one. Stuff like that. So, if you guys enjoyed that little rant I went on about Minmus, tell me so, and I will be sure to do that more often. I actually had an idea for a series in which I did that more often. You know, I would do that for each planet and each moon. So if you would be interested in that, tell me so. Another quick thing I want to point out is that as you all know, Kerbal Space Program Point 18 is right around the corner. We know it's sometime soon, and the developers actually gave a few lucky YouTubers a chance to try out the release candidate and make videos on them, and I was not one of those YouTubers. I'm sorry. I'm not that big, I guess, and I'm not saying that I should have, but I was, in case anyone was wondering, no, I did not get a chance to try out the release candidate. What I'm doing here, instead, I don't want to come in too hot, so I'm actually going to make a few passes and just burn off speed slowly in Kerbin's atmosphere. I'm actually in the atmosphere. No, I'm not. I thought I was in the atmosphere. Should be entering the atmosphere now, and I'm just going to physical time warp through the atmosphere so that our apoapsis lowers and we slow down. I'm going to make a few passes, so I don't come in too hot like I did last time. I don't want Jeb to die twice. He's already died one too many times. So yeah, point 18 is right around the corner, and I am excited. I'm excited for docking. I'm excited for the new staging system. I love designing rockets, and I think that will be open up a lot of new possibilities. So yeah, tell me what you guys think about point 18. Last thing I want to talk about is... What do I want to talk about? What was I gonna say? Oh yes, my personal channel. I'm gonna include a link to my personal channel. On it, if you like me as a person, if you enjoy my quirkiness, I don't know, if you guys want to stalk me or whatever, I have a personal channel in which I post vloggy type videos, and I post my music stuff that I work on, and generally talk about my life. And so if you would be interested in that, I don't know why you would, but just in case you would be, you guys can go check out my personal channel. It's at youtube.com/user/X Lakota for the win. It is named after my it's named after my Xbox Live account, because I'm a loser and I play Xbox, I know. But yeah, we're coming in on our final pass. I think on this time we will actually be landing, so I still have a bunch of fuel left. I might as well actually, here's what I'm gonna do. Ooh, can I do this? Let's try this. Yes, I'm gonna move my parachute. You can actually do this. I don't know if I talked about this in the in my Kerbal Rocket School video, but you can actually change the staging on the fly. However, you can't add or subtract new stages, so you have to be careful when you're actually moving stuff around. So now, I changed it so now my parachute should deploy now. Yes, okay. And then it'll decouple before actually, my parachute will deploy before I actually decouple my capsule from the rest of the craft. And since I have so much fuel left in my main tank, I still have about 500 liters, I might as well pad my safety a little bit and slow down even more, reduce my horizontal velocity. I'm actually going to focus on reducing my vertical velocity more than my horizontal velocity. Alright, now I'm out of fuel. I'm just going to decouple my craft and make sure my parachute is deployed. Nope, I'll be paying attention. My parachutes are releasing. We're slowing down. I really have my fingers crossed. You can't see, but I honestly do have my fingers crossed. I am not a superstitious man, but I always get nervous on re-entries, especially after what happened last time. Ah, thank God. Our parachutes have deployed safely, and now I can just time warp down to the surface, and it seems that we're landing right at sunset. I can't seem to find the sun itself. Sun? Where are you, sun? Oh, I guess it's after sunset. It is after sunset. It's right below the horizon. Alright, folks. Jeb, Patstead, Dunford are gonna wait for rescue, but you and I don't have to wait. I'm gonna sign off now. That's all for this episode. We have completed our mission. We have made it to Minmus, collected samples, learned about its history, and, most importantly, returned our crew safely. So that's all for this time, and I will see you out there.